How are y'all doing? It's Thursday morning, July 17th. About 1:30 in the morning. I have been trying to go to sleep for a couple hours now. Pretty much given up on it. My ex-wife is bringing Joey over around about 8 o'clock. It's when she's supposed to bring him over. Well, no, it's when she usually brings him over. She's supposed to bring him over around 7:30, but she can't never get her behind moving. So they don't end up coming around till 8:15. I don't know what that does for her job, but need to try to get some sleep so I'm somewhat rested for him tomorrow, but it's just not happening. Stressed out. I can't turn my head off. Tried my meditation trick, which helps sometimes. You know, shut my eyes and slowly. I'm tired. I just can't fall asleep. Slowly counting backwards from 100 and taking a slow deep breath between each count. Just not working. And I can't even remember if I took my melatonin tonight. I'm stressed out, aggravated, and angry as hell at my ex-wife. She picked Joey up tonight and they had a play date with her friend's kids. And he was running and playing and got dirty. I don't know exactly what happened, how it transpired. But she says that Joey told her that I told him that he had a big fat body and he needed to exercise to lose weight. And she should know that I wouldn't say something like that to him. She should know. And I don't know if she really does know better and just figures, oh, I got something I can poke the bear with, so I'm going to poke. And I have not, nor have I ever said anything like that to my son. Now y'all have seen Joey on my videos. He's getting to be a little bit chunky. He only really likes to eat junk. He's always hungry and he doesn't really exercise. And the fact that he only really likes to eat junk and doesn't really like to exercise is, I put entirely on her, because she propagates the junk. She says she tries to get him to eat healthy, but that's not what he tells me. Or she'll try to get him to eat something healthy, but he'll say, no, I don't want that, and then she'll just give up and give him junk. I work harder at trying to get him to eat healthy food, trying to get him to eat healthy snacks. And I tell him, just because we feel a little bit hungry doesn't mean we should eat. Try drinking some more water. Let's exercise a little bit. I'm trying to get him to exercise. I'm trying to get him to, lose a little bit of weight. It's what the doc says. He's overweight. She doesn't do any of that. She doesn't try to get him to exercise, nothing. And I've told him, I've said, you're getting to be a little bit too chunky and a little bit too overweight. And I told him, I said, when you're overweight, I said, it can cause you all kinds of health problems. I said, you could get diabetes. I said, I've got that. It runs in my side of the family. I said, you can get heart problems. I said, I've got that. It also runs in my side of the family. I said, granted, mine are from, chemotherapy, but it's possible that you could get heart problems if you're too overweight. So we need to try to get you exercising, get you a little bit healthier. Try to get you to eat a little bit better. And that's what I told him. She comes attacking me over Messenger, accusing me of putting him down and insulting him. And I explained to her, I got pissed off, but I tried to explain to her, that's not what I said. This is what I said, this is how I said it. And then she goes to try to tell me, you will remove chunky and chubby and overweight and whatever else. You will remove those words from your vocabulary, da-da-da-da-da. You are going to hurt his self-esteem. This is coming from a woman that is more childish than the 7-year-old that she's supposed to be caring for. She lets him run her in that house over there until she gets pissed off, and then she flies off the handle. That used to scare him. It's not really scaring him anymore. He pushes her, he bucks her, he won't listen to her. He pretty much just tells her no. And, he don't do that with me. That issue that we had last week that I talked about, that was, completely and totally unheard of. I've never seen him do that. And she said that that's what she gets from him all the time. And she tries to blame me. She tries to say that didn't start happening until after I got home from rehab. I told her, I said, no ma'am. I said, when he first started coming back to me, he was so much different than he was when I went into the hospital. And he was. He didn't want to play as much outside. I couldn't do much. Couldn't do very much of anything at all. He wasn't active. He had become so damn sedentary and lazy, just like her. She is so fucking lazy. Pardon my French. She don't want to do nothing but sit on her ass and play on her phone. This boyfriend she's got now, he actually seems like a decent guy, but he's also comes across as a cuck or a simp to me. He's like her houseboy. There's no, like, he's got no self-respect. There's damn sure no equality between the two of them in that house. Joey says, the boyfriend, he does everything. He does all the cooking, all the cleaning. Mama doesn't do anything. Joey doesn't do anything over there either. Matt, the boyfriend, takes care of everything. Joey doesn't have chores. Joey doesn't put up his own laundry. Nothing. I taught him, I was showing him Monday. About, reminding him about sorting through his own laundry, putting it up. And we were talking about it on the video call that night, and she's like, oh, well, he doesn't do that at my house. She said he used to, but he stopped doing that. And that's the thing. He's 7 years old. She'll be 40 years old in October. There's no structure, at her house. And there's no defining line between adult and child. He refuses to do something, and she just basically says, okay. Blames it on me. I've got so many stresses, so much shit that I'm dealing with. I shouldn't have to fight this woman about simple, what should be, simple shit that shouldn't be a division when it comes to raising our son. She provides him no structure, She lets him boss her around. She lets him, decide what he's going to do, when he's going to do it, and if he's going to do it. He is extremely disrespectful and rude when in her care. He does physical therapy 1 day a week and occupational therapy 2 days a week. And then every other week he sees an actual therapist, a shrink. And the occupational therapist, he's better with her. I don't know, maybe she's better with him. He doesn't fight her as much. But he does occasionally, and when he's with his mom, he will tell her, no, I don't want to do that. And that wasn't a problem when I was taking him. He was very cooperative with her. And the physical therapist, on the other hand, he doesn't want to do any exercises. He's rude and disrespectful to her, and I saw that this last Monday, because I actually sat in on their session, and I was completely and totally taken aback by his conduct, and I had to get on to him and tell him, we don't act like that. You don't speak like that. You apologize, and you do what the young lady tells you to do. This is for your good. And he did it, but he was aggravated. And I think that's the that's the reason why there's been a few times, only this last week, where he didn't want to come to me, because it was the day after, or it was that very same day that I had gotten onto him for refusing to go to sleep for his mom. I get on to him when I have to. I don't ever have to unless he's come back from his mom. And it's never here. It's always, his conduct at his mom's. But it's not just his conduct at his mom's anymore. Now it's his conduct with his physical therapist and his occupational therapist. He's been bucking the physical therapist for a while because he would rather just play with toys and not do any kind of exercises. And that's entirely because of his mom. And she doesn't correct him. She doesn't ever, she never gets to a point where she sits down and explains the facts of life. I am the adult, you are the child. This is not how we do things. I don't know where the hell she gets this idea, these ideas that she has, and how she thinks she's raising this child. But she is doing so much harm to him. Try to tell me I will not use words like chunky or heavy set or overweight or exercise, and him needing to exercise around him because it's going to hurt his self-esteem. Fuck that. Pardon my French. I'm not using those words in an accusatory tone or like writing down on him or bullying him. I am providing him with constructive criticism and explaining to him that, he's got to change some things, otherwise he's going to get sick. And I teach him, well, somebody, calls you fat, kids at school, because he's had kids criticize his appearance before at school. This is what you say, or this is what you do. This is how you handle it. She's trying to wrap him in this sissy cream puff cocoon that has nothing to do with self-esteem. What it's going to do is it's going to make it to where he can't function in the real world. I mean, the real world, she is one of those people that thinks that, everyone else should have to worry about her feelings or your feelings. She's one of those people that thinks that, laws should be changed because it hurts somebody's feelings. And she's one of those people that throws a tantrum like a child when her feelings are hurt. She doesn't get her way. And I'm not going to stand by and allow her to raise my son to be like that. Because the person that's going to hurt the most is him. I'm sorry, the world does not give a fuck about your feelings. Pardon my French again. It doesn't. You can't expect the world to be soft for you. You have to be tough for the world. You have to be able to deal with, what comes your way. Whether it be constructive criticism or bullying straight up. And I'm trying to teach my son, how to handle bullying when it comes his way. And I'm also trying to, like I said, I'm not being, nasty about it, but I'm explaining to him, you're getting, overweight, and it's not good. It's not healthy. You could end up with diabetes. You could end up with heart problems. We don't want that. And I told him, I said, you're a big kid, not big as in fat. He is a big kid. He's 7 years old and over 5 feet tall. He weighs 130 pounds. He's about 10 pounds, 7 to 10 pounds overweight, which, for his age and size, it's a lot. He's always asking for snacks, and he's always wanting junk food. And, I'll feed him a meal. Hour and a half, 2 hours later, he's hungry again. But he doesn't do anything. He doesn't want to exercise. I have to push. Not too hard. I can get him into a rhythm and he's having fun, but he would always rather be doing something else. Primarily watching his tablet. Just like her, playing on her damn phone. I've had people get after me before, about mentioning the fact that my ex-wife is quite overweight and unhealthy. I don't care, because I'm going to, voice my opinion on her regardless. But you don't know this woman. She used to be, a health nut. And when she was a kid, she was extremely overweight. She was a fat kid. And she was up into her teens and early college years. And she knows better than a lot of people about what it's like getting picked on and bullied in school because you're fat. And the things that she is doing and the way she's raising him and allowing him to get away with so much is going to have him in the same shape as she is. And she's not even teaching him, how to deal with it when somebody accuses him of being fat or somebody, picks on him about being fat. If that's the way you're going to be, at least know how to respond to it. And my thing is I just want him to be healthy. I was a chubby kid. I grew into it eventually. I understand that. But the thing is I was chubby, yeah, but I was outside every chance I got, ripping and running. I was doing martial arts with my dad, riding my bike, tearing through the woods, climbing trees. He doesn't do any of that. We do martial arts exercises, but even then, I have to make a game out of it to keep him interested, and the more intense it gets, the less he wants to do it. She is paving the way for him to be extremely unhealthy and be bullied. And and teaching him how to be nothing more than a victim. Oh, woe is me, And I'm not going to have it. I may be a lot of things, but a victim is not one of them. And I'm not going to let my son be taught to be a victim by his mother just because she's afraid of damaging his self-esteem, which, again, I have not done. I'm not going to let him be a sissy, pansy, cream puff in the regard that, if somebody says mean words to him, he's going to be an adult and collapse on the ground or lash out and hurt somebody. And that's the person that she's trying to raise, where I'm trying to raise someone who has self-respect and respect for others and understands that actions have consequences. Yeah, you're fat and out of shape, but that's going to have consequences. There's no doctor anywhere in the world that deserves to have their license that is going to say, if you're more than this much overweight, it's going to cause health problems. And I got all this other shit going on, She doesn't know about my insurance. I don't feel comfortable telling her things like that, but, I'm down to rationing like my heart medication. just thinking about it, my heart's racing, and I don't need this shit, you know? I don't need it. Yeah, there's my ever-present bedhead. In my defense, I was trying to sleep, but I just can't do it. I'm gonna end up being awake all night and being tired all day, and I'm sure she's gonna have some choice words to come back at me at some point during the day. I got pissed off on Messenger, but she doesn't understand accountability. You know, it's never her fault. It's always somebody else's fault. Anyway, I had to vent to somebody. I apologize. I'm at the end of my time limit here. About at the end of my damn rope. My GoFundMe link will be in the description. I gotta try to keep getting that out there. I hope y'all are doing good, and I'll get back on here maybe tomorrow night. Well, tonight, and talk about something hopefully more optimistic. Y'all have a good day.